Niners, baby, take an L once again in Minnesota, and today's loss is sort of baffling. It's baffling because since 1992, the 49ers haven't beaten Minnesota in Minnesota. Why? I don't know. There's something about playing in Minnesota, I guess, that the Niners just can't get over this random hump. Things just go wrong. I mean, the Niners won the Super Bowl in 1994. I know, long time ago. And they were on a 10-game winning streak that season. They go to Minnesota late in the year and they lay an egg. Everything goes wrong and they lose. Now, they still end up going and winning the Super Bowl, but playing in Minnesota for some reason is like a kryptonite for us. So let's talk about this game, because it started off real weird. Started off with Kyle Shanahan not trying to establish a run with a very hot Jordan Mason. I took notes. So it was a pass to the right, short, pass to the right, short, and then pass incomplete to the left. 3 passes, 3 and out. But still, pass to the left, short, finally a run, Jordan Mason, and he got 10 yards, but there was a holding penalty. So now it's 1st and 20. We have to throw. And he threw to the left to Jennings for 12. We ran to the right for 3. That's the first official run on the books. And then an incomplete pass. So 2 3 and outs, 1 run technically in the books. And then we get a blocked punt. Minnesota only gets 3 out of that. But that's not a good way to start the game. There's nothing in our favor. There's no momentum happening. We've ran the ball 1 time and we throw it at 5. And then the next drive, we go all the way down the field. We get it to 4th and goal. And Purdy sees Jennings to the left. He has space, but the Minnesota defender tipped the pass. I literally leaped out of the world, tipped the pass. And it still actually went into the hands of Jennings, but in a really flippy-floppy way. And it ended up being incomplete pass and turnover on downs on the goal line. There's 3 points we just left on the board. Technically, a turnover. We end up pinning Minnesota deep, and they're like on the 3-yard line. Sam Darnold hits Justin Jefferson on this huge play over the middle, 97-yard touchdown pass. When I tell you that a piece of my soul died on that touchdown pass, because Jair Brown kind of got lost in the sauce on coverage and Odom back there. Our safeties. It's like, what are you doing? That should never happen. And I literally wrote down in my notes, Greg Odom is a special teamer. Why is he in the game? Get him out of there. And Jair Brown falls asleep in coverage sometimes. And it's very annoying. That's what I wrote. So they put Malik Mustafa in. Praise God. And Malik played most of the rest of the game, maybe minus a few plays, but Malik came in the rest of the game. I feel like he's going to be playing from now on, and I really hope that's the case, because Odom's a good special teamer. He is not it as a safety, and Jair Brown might be a better linebacker than anything, because DeAndre Campbell looked really slow. He looked really lost in pass coverage early on in the game, and they were taking advantage of him over the middle of the field a lot. Malik played a lot better than Odom could have ever played in his life once he entered the game. Those 3 points that we didn't get on that drive all the way down there, and we went for it on 4th and goal. At the time, I'm like, yeah, let's go for it. Let's go for it. And it was there. It really was there. But it got tipped and we didn't get it. So ifs, ands, or buts, like we didn't get it. And those 3 points could have came up huge at the end of the game when we're driving on them. And now we actually need to score and get the ball back instead of just scoring to either win or to tie. So those 3 points cost us at the end. In the NFL, you have to take the points. You just freaking have to. And we didn't, and it bit us in the butt. What also bit us is timely turnovers by Brock Purdy. The interception that he threw was 2 things. Our offensive line was like all or nothing today. They either really blocked for Purdy well, and mind you, he was 28 of 36 for 319 and a touchdown. He had a really good day. But that interception, not only was the pocket collapsing, but he made a very quick decision where he probably should have just held on to it and take another sack. He took 6 sacks today, y'all, but he tried to force it to Juice. It got tipped. It got tipped again, and it got intercepted. Is what it is, but that did lead to points for Minnesota. So that doesn't help our end of the game deficit when we're driving and we need 2 scores now instead of just 1. So there's 2 things we just shot ourselves in the foot on. Didn't take the points, and trying to force something to where it didn't need to be forced. Just take the sack. Something that I noticed throughout that game, though, was the chemistry is still off between Purdy and Ayuk. There was times where Ayuk was absolutely open and he rather force it to Debo. Now, Debo had a really good day. Debo had 8 catches for 110 yards today. Didn't really get him involved in the running game too much. Legitimately, on the books, 2 carries for -10 yards. The one was the screen pass at the end of the game, which was scary because that same brother that tipped that pass on the 4th and goal in the very early parts of the game almost intercepted it, and that was just like, come on. Like, why is the white lightning over here just making all the difference in the game? But Debo ended up catching that tip, and it was a negative play, and it's just like, then we had to kick a field goal, and then we ended up losing by a touchdown. It's okay. But we didn't get Debo involved in the running game early. We didn't get the ball in his hands, and I was like, what is his game plan right now? Like, I understand that Purdy is very smart, and he's going to make the right reads, and he usually throws it to the right person at the right time, but we weren't getting Debo involved. And then it was very eye-opening how the chemistry is off with him and Ayuk, because there was times that Ayuk was absolutely open and Purdy didn't either see him or just didn't want to throw it to him. But he ended up throwing to him 4 times for 43 yards. It's like almost like, okay, the wheels are starting to turn, but slower. Kittle had 76 yards and 7 receptions and a touchdown. The chemistry's there. Juan Jennings, I'm telling you what, the play from Purdy to Juan, 4th down. I think it was in the first quarter. It had to be perfect because the DB was draped all over him, and it was just a beautiful thing. If it's 3rd down, if it's 4th down, and we're throwing, you have to put all of your coverage on that man, because that's who we're going to. And even if you have the coverage on that man, we're probably going to throw him the ball, and I love every second of it. He is so clutch, and Purdy is deadly accurate most of the time. So that was a beautiful thing to watch. That's only going to continue to grow. Jordan Mason had 20 carries for 100 yards. I mean, that's 5 yards a carry and a touchdown. The man has 247 yards on the year, and he thought he was going to be a 3rd stringer special teamer this year, and he is running like one of the best backs in the league. Like, I don't know if you're hip to Jordan Mason, but watch him, because his vision is insane. The way that he breaks tackles is insane. His patience, he is such a patient and powerful runner. Like, you can see him just coming into his own with every carry. And it's just a beautiful thing, because sometimes the lanes aren't there. The blocking isn't always there. The Niners offensive line, again, last year was ranked in the bottom 3rd of the league. It's not like we have a top 5 or a top 10 O-line. We 100% do not. Pooney played really well today once again, but our center and our right tackle are very much so question marks. We got Trent on the left side. Aaron Banks as a left guard is a very good guard. And now Pooney on the right side, very good guard. We have 2 question marks that they attacked hard on the edge and right through the middle. And it was a very interesting thing watching that pressure continually come through. We had to keep sliding our blocking scheme over to the right, and they would attack from the left and right through the middle. And it was just like, it was so frustrating to watch. Once Minnesota made those adjustments, it was like over. Like I said, Brock Purdy got sacked 6 freaking times. Ty Chandler for the Minnesota Vikings. Let's talk about them for a second. He ran hard. He was clutch. He was hard to tackle. He had 10 carries for 82 yards. He had a really good game. And a lot of those yards came in the second half when they needed it the most. Sam Darnold, 268, 2 touchdowns, not too bad. He threw a pick to All-Pro Fred, though. And Fred also had 2 forced fumbles. One we recovered, and the other one fell out of bounds. Fred was going all over the place. He is exactly who he is. And Nick Bosa had a couple of sacks today. On the same play, Nick Bosa got rolled up on, and he ended up coming back a few plays later because his ankle he got rolled up on. Justin Jefferson also got hurt, and he walked away very gingerly, and he never returned. So prayers up for JJ, because his injury is probably a little bit more tricky, and they probably got to do some tests. You never want to see one of the best players in the whole league barely be able to walk away. And then we need to talk about the other turnover from Brock Purdy. It was originally looked as like an interception, but it really was a fumble, because when he was about to throw the ball, the ball slipped out of his hand. So it was like one of those numbers where it's like you're about to throw it, and then the ball is just like, oh, where's it going? Why is it going over there? And then they picked it off. And I'm like, that's just, come on. There's nothing you can do about that. That's got to be the worst feeling in the whole wide world. And I'm not even looking at that like, man, Purdy just made a horrible mistake right there. That's just one of those things that just wow, well, that happened. The only good takeaway I can say from that one is when Aaron Jones was running for a touchdown on that ensuing Minnesota drive, Fred Warner knocked it out before he could cross the plane, and Isaac Yiadom on his second fumble recovery of the day, because he also recovered one on the muffed punt, that happened. So I'm glad we have some heads-up defenders. Yiadom on the one side looked really well. Javarius Ward and Jair Brown, I do believe, on the one wide open Minnesota touchdown, just were faked out by the really good play call from Minnesota. They both thought it was a run, and bro just slipped up right in between them and got a wide open touchdown. That's just good play design, bad execution on us as defense with the blown coverage, but that was exactly how Minnesota drew it up, and it worked. Overall, 23-17 was the final score. Minnesota outgained the Niners 403 to 399, so it was pretty even. The Niners had way more first downs, 24-17, so the Vikings were getting bigger and more explosive plays while the Niners were getting down the field methodically like we do. The Niners actually controlled the game with time of possession with 35 minutes to 25. The thing was, we got in the red zone 4 times and only came away with points on 2 of those. It's not going to work. So there's 2 trips to the red zone where we didn't at least kick a field goal. So there's 6 points that we should have had, that we could have had. And guess what the difference when the score was? 6 freaking points. And then a lost fumble and an interception. Now, mind you, Minnesota did the same thing. So those 2 can balance out. 4 trips to the red zone and 2 of those trips scored. So that's a problem. And the biggest thing I really want to look at right here, even though we controlled the time of possession, that does not mean we controlled the line of scrimmage. The Niners did not control the line of scrimmage today on a consistent basis. Like I said earlier, it was a coin flip. Sometimes Purdy had time to go through all 4 reads and go flip it back again, bake a cake, make some breakfast for the next day, meal prep, get a workout in, and still throw a 15-yard strike to somebody. It was crazy. And then other plays, it's like he didn't even have time to breathe. I don't understand the inconsistency there, but it was happening. And all of that really shines because 6 sacks. And it wasn't because Purdy was holding the ball too long. It was because on those 6 sacks, he didn't have any time. And then our third down efficiency, something that we were very efficient on last week, 2 of 10 on third down today. Minnesota was 7 of 12. Minnesota wins the game. Little things like that matter. Turnovers, we lost the turnover battle. Third down, we lost the third down battle. Getting the ball into the red zone and not translating that into points. Those 3 categories alone, we ain't winning that game no matter what if those 3 things ain't right. So now the Niners have to pick up the pieces, figure it out, because they got to go play a divisional game against the Rams in LA. Rams games are never easy, even though LA, SoFi Stadium, pretty much a home game for us. Always is. So we just have to keep up that momentum that we have with the Rams. Like, we can't beat Minnesota in Minnesota. The Rams, for whatever reason, can't beat us at home. Please get better at McCaffrey. Your presence in the passing game is missed because we don't throw it to Mason, apparently. It's just week 2. Not freaking out about this loss, especially when we had every opportunity to win this game. We just have to fix some things. We'll be all right. Y'all have a good day. Comment down below if you have any thoughts. Good luck the rest of the year, Minnesota. Literally, Brock Purdy is 14-2 against the NFC, but we can't beat y'all. The 2 losses is against Minnesota in Minnesota. I'm so disgusted about stats like that. At least the Lions lost. At least the Cowboys got blown out. Y'all have a good day, and I'll talk to you.